Children love to listen to stories about their elders when they were children, to stretch their imagination to the conception of a traditionary great uncle or grandame whom they never saw. With fingers weary and worn, with eyelids heavy and red, a woman sat in unwomanly rags, plying her needle and thread, stitch, 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 in poverty, hunger, and dirt, and still with a voice of dolorous pitch, she sang the song of the shirt. Like a rose embowered in its own green leaves. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in a grove I sate reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to my mind. The birds around me hopped and played. Their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? All nature is but art, unknown to thee, all chance, direction, which thou canst not see, all discord, harmony not understood, all partial evil, universal good, and spite of pride, in erring reason's spite, one truth is clear, whatever is right. Books, 'tis a dole of endless strife. Come, hear the woodland linnet, how sweet his music. On my life, there's more of wisdom in it. "5 years have passed. 5 summers, with a length of 5 long winters, and again I hear these waters rolling from their mountain springs, with a soft inland murmur. Once again do I behold these steep and lofty cliffs, that on a wild secluded scene impress thoughts of more deep seclusion and connect the landscape with the quiet of the sky. The day is come when I again repose here, under these dark sycamore and view, these plots of cottage ground, these orchard tufts, which at this season, with their unripe fruits, are clad in one green hue and lose themselves mid groves and corpses. Once again I see these hedgerows, hardly hedgerows, little lines of sportive wood run wild, these pastoral farms, green, 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 green. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright, meeting her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. Enough of science and of art, close up those barren leaves, come forth and bring you with the She was a phantom of delight, when first she gleamed upon my sight, a lovely apparition sent to be a moment's ornament, her eyes as stars of twilight fair, like twilight's too, her dusky hair. But all things else about her drawn from maintime and the cheerful down, a dancing shape, an image gay, to haunt, to startle and waylay.
It is hard to decide exactly what a novel is. It is of course prose fiction, but not all pieces of prose fiction can be reasonably classed as novels. For example, Swift's Gulliver's Travels, which is equally successful as a savage satire on humanity and is a story for children, is prose fiction, but nobody would call it a novel. Is Robinson Crusoe, Defoe's masterpiece, a novel, or is it simply a tale of adventure? Where do we draw the line between adventure tales, fantasies, romances, science fiction, and novels? It is difficult to decide, but at least we can agree that in the novel proper we are concerned with men and women who are related to some sort of society in a fairly realistic fashion. A story about monsters living at the back of the moon would not be a novel. We can say, then, that a novel is a prose narrative that offers us imaginary characters and events set in some particular and recognizable society.
Between the years 1660 and 1669, Samuel Pepys kept a diary, which he wrote in a secret code or shorthand. Assured this security from prying eyes, he could be completely intimating that he is in describing his personal life. More than 100 years later, the 6 volumes of this diary were discovered among other books which Pepys had bequeathed to Cambridge University. It took several years to decipher and transcribe these volumes, but in 1825, the first edition of Pepys' diary was finally published. Since then, many editions of his work have appeared. In the diary, we meet an extraordinary personality. Pepys himself, a great lover of music, a quick-tempered master, and a tireless worker. Nothing is concealed in the diary. Music, you say, it would be a good night for music, but I have music here in a box, shut up like one of those bottled hymns in the Arabian Nights and ready at a touch to break out of its prison. I make the necessary mechanical magic, and suddenly, by some miraculously appropriate coincidence, for I had selected the record in the dark without knowing what music the machine would play, suddenly the introduction to the Benedictus in Beethoven's Missa Solemnis begins to trace its patterns on the moonless sky.
There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. There is a rapture on the lonely shore.
Here
There is
feels
society
quiet
where none
rivers
intrudes.
and abundant
By the deep sea,
vegetation
not music in its roar.
replaced
I love not
by
manners, but
rocky
nature
mountains,
more.
adorned
For these are
in the same
intercurrents
shower
in which I
leaves,
steal.
this powerful
From
light
all
the
I
rest
be,
of the
or have been
congregation
before,
shall shine
to
more
mingle
bright.
with the
Sometimes
universe and
when
feel
he is
what
the
I can ne'er express,
devotion
yet
of
not
the
all
Highland
diseases
times are different. Amen. 3 or 4
When
times to the same prayer and sometimes stand or broil with everybody else out the word of the mass of the congregation, nor Mars or see if any of the walls of his tenant fires shall burn. If I was yesterday very much surprised to hear my old friend in the midst of their service calling out, shall you to one of your matters your praise shall still what he was about and not the stop the congregation of the Lord posterior majesty seemed that where this was remarkable to the end beginning was a beautiful judgment that was a time whose subjects lost that dwell in love for years, and the rest speak of flowery Devonshire, where he lived for many years. Let us begin by clearing up the old confusion between the man who loves learning and the man who loves reading, and point out that there is no connection whatever between the two. A learned man is a sedentary, concentrated, solitary enthusiast who searches through books to discover some particular grain of truth upon which he has set his heart. If the passion for reading conquers him, his gains dwindle and vanish between his fingers. A reader, on the other hand, must check the desire for learning at the outset. If knowledge sticks to him, well and good, but to go in pursuit of it, to read on a system, to become a specialist or an authority, is very apt to kill what it suits us to consider the more human passion for pure and disinterested reading.